Hi! So I'm back with another story, and this story is called The Little Gnome Who Had to Stay Home. Just like all of you, you're staying at home, right? You're not going to school, you can't go down to play with your friends, you can't go visit your grandparents, you can't visit your uncles and aunts. You have to stay home, just like the little gnome who had to stay home. So are you curious to know what happened to little gnome? So let's hear the story. Who's a gnome? Have you heard of gnomes? Well, gnomes are magical creatures just like fairies and elves. They live in the forest and they're tiny little creatures. They wear pointy hats and they have long beards and they have button nose. Well, this story is about a little gnome who had to stay home. Now, little gnome was very confused. He didn't know why he had to stay home. Didn't everybody know that little gnomes love to roam? But this little gnome had to stay home. He couldn't go to school, he couldn't visit his friends, he couldn't go out to play with his friends. He had to sit at home all day. He was bored. He didn't know what to do. So he started looking out of the window. And you know what he noticed? He noticed a lot of things he hadn't seen before. He saw little ants scurrying about, and he saw little beetles climbing up the tree, and he heard the birds singing, coo-hoo, coo-hoo. He heard the wind. Why hadn't he noticed all of these things? He saw the floppy-eared rabbit. He'd never seen all of these things. He saw a spider spinning its web. Well, every morning he used to be very busy. He would get up in the morning, have his breakfast, and rush to school. So he had no time to notice all of these things. Suddenly, he had a lot of time and he was noticing a lot of things around him. He looked out of his window and he saw a sunbeam come through his window, and he saw little dust particles dancing in the sunbeam. Oh, what a lovely sight. But even as he did all of this, he was still bored. He didn't know how to pass his time. He didn't know when he could meet his friends again. He was really bored. And he didn't know who to ask. Nobody knew the answers to his questions. So he decided to ask Mother Tree. Because he, being a gnome, lived inside the roots of a tree. The tree stood in the middle of the forest, tall and proud. She carried the wisdom of the forest. She was his protector. She was his home. So he asked her, Mother Tree, why can't little gnome roam? When will this all be over? Mother Tree turned to him and looked at him with gentle eyes and smiled and said, things are not how they used to be, but trust me, soon you'll be free. Trust me, trust me, trust me, soon you'll be free. Little gnome knew that he could trust Mother Tree. She carried the wisdom of the forest. The birds and the wind were the messengers that brought the news from around the world to her. Some days the birds sat on her branches and whispered to her, chirped into her ears, coo-hoo, coo-hoo. He could hear them singing high up in her branches. He could hear the wind blowing. Someday it blew wild and he had to close all his windows because all the dirt would fly into his house. He knew that day it was bad news. But Mother Earth, Mother Tree, looked at him and just said, trust me, soon you'll be free. Trust me, trust me, trust me, soon you'll be free. And while he waited and he waited every single day, he found that there were so many things he could do at home. So many wonderful things. He realized that he could maybe cook with his mummy and maybe help his daddy in the housework, or maybe read the newspaper with grandpa, or maybe help grandma to stitch, or maybe he could sing. Little gnome can dance, dance, dance. Little gnome can sing, sing, sing. Little gnome can paint and draw and do somersaults across the floor. Little gnome can dance, dance, dance. Little gnome can sing, sing, sing. Little gnome can cook and clean and curl up with a picture book. Little gnome can dance, dance, dance. Little gnome can sing, sing, sing. Little gnome can dance, dance, dance. Little gnome can sing, sing, sing. Oh, what fun he had! He realized that he could do so much more at home. And one day, as he looked out of the window, the earth smelled different to him. Something was changing. There was a smell of... what was that delicious, wonderful smell? He looked out of his window up into the sky, and he saw dark, angry clouds. The sky started to turn dark. There was thunder and there was lightning and it started raining. He was scared. He crouched in a corner and he waited for it to pass. He waited for the storm to pass. Mother Tree stood strong. She stood strong in the rain. And when the rain stopped, he went and looked out of this window, and the world looked different outside. Mother Tree was washed clean. Every one of her leaves was sparkling green, and he could hear the birds chirping. He could hear laughter and pitter-patter of feet. His friends. Oh, he hadn't heard that in so long. He could hear children playing in the puddles. He looked up at the sky and he saw a beautiful rainbow. Oh, that was the sign Mother Tree had told him to wait for. He looked at Mother Tree and smiled at her. And she looked at him and said, "Everything is alright now. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for trusting me." The end.